purpose of this safety induction is to ensure that you perform your activities in safe conditions. As a contractor, your safety is of utmost importance. We are committed to return everyone who visits and works at our site home safely to their families and friends. Please follow the instructions given to you before, during, and after the work. This is especially important in the event of an emergency on site. Our values. Our values. Everything we do at Contour Global is guided by our values and the principles we embrace and follow. Our values lie at the core of what we do every day. They orient our behaviors and decisions both at work and at home. To act transparently and with moral integrity. To care about our people's health, safety, well-being, and development. To work hard and without boundaries as a multinational, integrated team. To expect, embrace, and enable excellence and continuous learning through humility and the knowledge that we will fail, but when we do, we will learn. To honor the commitments of those who have. Plant access. Upon entering the site, security officers will carry out checks and issue a contractor badge which you must return at the end of the day, and which will be used for the entire duration of the work. General hazards and risks. Contour Global Togo put a great amount of effort into eliminating hazards in all operations in our facilities. The hierarchy of controls is applied mainly. However, due to the nature of our operations, not all hazards can be eliminated. For this reason, you must stay alert for conditions that may exist on this site, such as noise, electrical energy, explosive atmosphere, ATEX zone, hot surfaces, rotating parts, moving vehicles, slips, trips, and falls, falling objects. To protect yourself, you should wear personal protective equipment depending on the area you will be crossing, namely safety helmet, safety shoes, safety glasses, high-visibility vests. Other PPE may be required depending on the risk assessment and the nature of the work to be carried out, such as hearing protection, nose mask. For your safety, we strongly suggest that you follow the following safety precautions on the site. You must respect all signs and warnings and stay away from restricted access locations. Checkmark: dispose all waste according to the instructions on the waste bins. No one is allowed to take non-controlled substances during job time. It is not permitted to smoke in the building, plant, and areas shared by employees. It can be done only outside the plant. Eating and drinking are allowed only in designated areas. Don't drink borehole water on the site. It is prohibited to use a mobile phone while walking, on stairs, while driving, in ATEX zones, and to take photos or videos of people, equipment, and installations on the site without authorization. Report hazards, unsafe act, unsafe condition, and any incident if occurred. Respect pedestrian walkways at all times. If you are driving a car in our facility, remember to wear seat belt, maintain a driving speed limit of 10 kilometers per hour, always park in reverse position, and engage handbrake before disembarking. Do not touch or move too close to any equipment or machine. Emergency situations. In the event of an emergency in any of our facilities, we want you to be safe. You are allowed to use in a proactive manner all the means in place to alert our teams to response immediately. Your host, call using emergency numbers displayed or personnel in the same zone like you. Manual fire alarm activation call point. In case of minor injury, if you are trained, use the first aid kit available in the various buildings and inform the person in charge of the work. For serious injury, call control room 0022892215 973 or 8844. You will be helped by first aiders in place and, if needed, by external assistance. In case of fire or explosion, immediately alert, then go to the nearest assembly point and follow the instructions. In case of other emergencies, chemical spill, terrorist attack, etc., follow the instructions of the site manager. In general, if the emergency alarm is activated, follow the instructions of your guide and go to the nearest assembly point indicated by the arrows. Number 1 at the front of administrative building or number 2 at out of the plant. Without running, follow the coordinator's instructions. In any case, do not put yourself in danger. Signage. There are several types of signage on the CGT site, including horizontal and vertical road signs that regulate traffic and define specific zones. HSE obligations, such as mandatory use of personal protective equipment, PPE, prohibition signs, such as restricted access areas, warning signs indicating potential hazards. Please remain vigilant and pay close attention to all signage at all times while on site. Permit to work. All subcontractor activities carried out on behalf of CGT must be covered by a valid work permit. Issuing a work permit requires a risk assessment that considers the tools and equipment to be used, the qualifications and competencies of the workers, the specific conditions of the work area, including the presence of nearby personnel, the control measures implemented for each identified risk. Work permits are issued for a defined duration and apply only to workers deemed medically and technically fit for the task. There are several types of work permits, including general work permit, working at height permit, confined space entry permit, hot work permit, excavation permit. Depending on the nature of the task, one or more types of permits may be required. How is a work permit issued? To obtain a work permit, the subcontractor must provide a list of workers involved, a risk assessment and proof of worker qualifications, training certificates, licenses, authorizations, etc., a list of tools, equipment, and materials to be used, along with valid inspection records, a list of hazardous substances, if applicable, and their safety data sheets, SDS, introduction of equipment, materials, and hazardous products. All equipment, including machinery and cranes, materials, and hazardous substances, must be inspected at the gate before being allowed onto the CGT site. Lockout/tagout, LOTO. When required by the risk assessment, equipment must be locked out by authorized CGT personnel. Environment. The contractor shall take all necessary measures to prevent any form of pollution during the execution of their work and shall strictly comply with CGT's applicable procedures at all times. The work area must be kept clean and orderly at all times, free from any tripping hazards. Household and similar waste must be disposed of in the designated site bins, following the waste sorting instructions. Any hazardous substances, such as paint, oil, grease, aerosols, or other chemicals that are authorized and brought onto the CGT site, as well as any related waste, must be removed from the site at the end of the work in accordance with applicable safety and environmental regulations. It is strictly prohibited to bring any worker onto the job site who is not listed on the work permit, even if they have previously completed the HSE induction. Introduce any equipment onto the CGT site that has not been inspected and approved by CGT personnel. Bring hazardous substances onto the CGT site without prior formal approval, even if accompanied by a material safety data sheet, MSDS. Handle or operate any installation, equipment, or tool not covered by the work permit, and in all cases, without prior authorization from CGT. Access any area of the site other than those specifically assigned for the task. Remove or attempt to remove any item or property from CGT premises, even if it appears to be abandoned. Leave the work area untidy or poorly marked, whether during the task, at the end of the day, or upon completion of the work. Assign a worker to a task for which they are not qualified. Operate any equipment, machinery, or tool without proper training and without having submitted proof of qualification to CGT. Assign personnel to work in high-risk areas without providing them with adequate information and protective equipment, e.g., assigning a worker near grinding operations without providing hearing protection. The following behaviors are strictly forbidden on CGT premises: theft, arguments or physical altercations, harassment in any form, based on gender, origin, color, age, disability, etc. Playing games, including pranks or practical jokes. Violation of applicable laws and regulations. Acts of sabotage or any behavior that could endanger people, equipment, or facilities. Possession or use of weapons, whether bladed or firearms. Possession, use, trafficking, or distribution of alcohol, drugs, or any illegal substances, including unauthorized medications. Marking, writing, or tagging on any CGT property or equipment. Alcohol and drug screening. In accordance with internal policies and procedures, and depending on the nature of the work to be performed and the associated risks, you may be subject to alcohol testing while on site. If necessary, and depending on the situation, drug testing may also be conducted in coordination with the relevant authorities. Conclusion. Contour Global Togo strives to reduce injuries to zero and eliminate fatalities in each of our sites. Our goal is clear: zero injuries, zero fatalities. To help us achieve this, we ask that you report any unsafe act or condition you notice while at our site. Help us achieve our goals by following health and safety expectations that have just been shared, including any additional health and safety instruction given by your host. Keeping employees, visitors, contractors, and service providers safe at Contour Global Togo starts with each one of us. Acknowledgement. At the end of this presentation, you will be asked to sign a commitment form confirming that you have received the HSE induction training, that you have understood all the safety instructions, and that you agree to comply with them. If you are ever in doubt, do not take any risks. Seek guidance from your employer, the CGT supervisor, or the CGT HSE team. Contour Global Togo is committed to achieving zero injuries, preventing fatalities, and eliminating environmental pollution on our site. Our objective is clear and uncompromising: zero injuries, zero fatalities, and zero environmental pollution. Help us achieve our goals by following health, safety, and environment expectations that have just been shared. Keeping employees, visitors, contractors, and service providers safe at Contour Global Togo starts with each one of us. Thank you very much for following our recommendations carefully. We hope you enjoy your visit.